GSD leader Keith Azopardi says parliaments in the other overseas territories have all grown in the last 20 or 30 years, but that ours has remained static.
Ours has the same number of members that we used to have in 1969, whereas all the other parliaments have generally grown, except for that in Bermuda, because Bermuda has a very advanced constitution and has a bicameral situation. But everyone else is growing to precisely get on the road to better accountability.
He says the GSD would introduce a series of reforms. He calls them revolutionary, among them enlarging Parliament with introduction of backbenchers and select committees. Keith Azopardi says the aim of the reforms is to reduce the power of the government.
What accountability are you going to get if ministers are part of the select committees? They're not going to hold themselves to account. It's impractical. So generally backbenchers tend to be members of committees, but you would need backbenchers, because otherwise without backbenchers it doesn't really function.
Damon Bocino says changes to the way Parliament conducts its business would also improve the quality of debates in the House, as well as enhancing future laws.
A real business, or a large chunk of the business of a parliament, is to pass law. And I dare say that the law is not as good as it should be, because you don't have enough time to subject that. I know it may come across as boring, but laws affect all of our lives. And you don't have the opportunity to properly scrutinize every sentence.
He says the GSD's planned democratic renewal would also formalise Parliament sessions and make them friendlier for all, which would in turn open up politics and the business of the House to a whole new range of people, among them the young demographic.
That we would want to institute a youth parliament so that young members of our society would get a taste of how this works, and I think we're pretty confident that it would be an attractive thing for young people to participate in.
Keith Azopardi says democratic reform is necessary because the Gibraltar Parliament does not work.
If a future government wanted to put itself in a position where it dominates again, we want to make sure there's constitutional reform so that doesn't happen. And if that's the case, I think you can end up with a system that will really be a legacy of reform that works well for the community.
The GSD says it would also engage the UK in discussions aimed at further modernising the Constitution, which was last amended in 2006.